AI. AI is the talk of the business world, the talk of the creative world, the artistic world, the talk of the entire internet. Basically, AI has taken over everything. And there is that old saying that how do you know when the market has reached its top? Well, it's when your barber and the taxi driver are giving you tips on stocks. I think there is also a correlative to that. I think that there is a place on the rise where things get dangerous and there's a lot of hollow stuff going on around the edges. I read an article, and I will be bringing you an article that gives me serious boiler room vibes. And I'm not making any accusations. I certainly don't know as much as the author. I certainly don't know as much as the people in the article here. But I think that there will come across as certain things which seem to have no depth to them. That if you were to scratch the surface of some of these things, there is but a hollow candy coating. In an article titled "The AI Powered Startup Studio Plans to Launch 100,000 Companies a Year," really, I think you can already see that there's something not quite tangible with this number 100,000. Why 100,000? Why not 88,961? Why not 107,023? It is just a big number for the sake of being a big number. This article comes to us from, I believe, Del One by Connie Loizos. Henrik Werdelin has spent the last 15 years helping entrepreneurs build big brands like BarkBox through his startup studio Prehype. Now, with his new New York-based venture Autos, he's betting that AI can help him scale that process from tens of startups a year to hundreds of thousands of aspiring business owners. The first place I have to stop. Are the expectations for AI unhinged? Not unrealistic, not lofty, but unhinged. There's talk of UBI. There's talk of mass layoffs. There's talk of complete unemployment. There's talk of terminators. There's no doubt in my mind that the original Luddites looked around at those machines that were replacing them in the workplace and had legitimate fear that their job right now was only going to be the beginning of the downfall of, well, civilization. It didn't happen. For every one job that technology replaced, it seems it created three new jobs around the periphery. I'm sure there is an actual study somewhere giving the actual number, but it seems something like that is the case. Is it possible that AI is not going to completely destroy the world, but will in fact enhance and supplement it? I think time will tell, but I think that just as silly as it seems from the outside, and maybe these guys are absolutely right that they can start 100,000 companies in a year, but just as silly as that seems from the outside, I believe there might be something silly on the other expectations from AI. The timing certainly feels right. Mass layoffs across a variety of industries have left many workers reconsidering their career paths, while AI tools have markedly lowered the barrier to building digital products and services. At the center of a Venn diagram is Werdelin's latest venture, with the promise to help everyday entrepreneurs create million-dollar AI companies without requiring technical skills. This paragraph, just from someone who is a connoisseur of language, is kind of useless. And what do I mean by that? The timing certainly feels right. Now I'm telling you how to feel. Mass layoffs across a variety of industries have left many workers reconsidering their career paths. At what point has this not felt true to many thousands or hundreds of thousands of people at a time? There have always been layoffs all the time, and you're not mentioning any of the industries. You're not pinpointing any of the workers. I'm just taking your word for it as an author. While AI tools have markedly lowered the barrier of building digital products and services. How? I understand that to a degree this is true. How do you mean this? And what does it have to do with what you're talking about? At the center of that Venn diagram, which Venn diagram? Is Wordlin's latest venture with its promise to help everyday entrepreneurs create million-dollar AI companies without requiring technical skills. You have put forth an extremely lofty statement and failed, in my opinion, to back it up. This is where, in the article, I start wondering not only about the subject matter, but the author as well. And I don't mean, again, 100% I could be wrong. Now, as for the words in this paragraph, for this to be the case, 100,000 new businesses. You're looking at 100,000 SaaS businesses, software as a service businesses. You're looking at this strictly with AI. AI is not building hardware at this point. To scale from tens to hundreds of thousands, you're banking on 100,000 SaaS companies. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but even SaaS at some point has a limited TAM. So I don't understand the scale for this. Moving forward, Wordlin's journey from pre-hype to autos reflects a broader transformation happening in entrepreneurship right now. At pre-hype, the focus was on working with tech founders to build traditional startups, the kind that might raise millions and aim for billion-dollar exits. So even before the AI stuff, looking backwards from the Wordlin's journey from pre-hype to autos, you're looking at a push to start approach. You're not looking at building a functional business. You're looking at building something compelling enough that other companies come in and buy it. Now, in fairness, that seems to be the opposite of what they're trying with the AI path. But for this to be the goal, not maybe the outcome or a byproduct, right? I think that there are lots of good businesses that start off with a goal in mind and end up being acquired, and it's just the way the cookie crumbled for that business. But to start a business with the goal of it being acquired on some level means that you are expecting to not have to solve some of the biggest problems with your business. Now he tells TechCrunch, what we're trying to do is take all that knowledge, all the methodology that we've created over the years, building all these companies, big companies, and really trying to democratize it. Pardon me for being immediately wary. Quote unquote, democratize it seems to be a new way of saying we don't really know. But by the time we get there, well, we'll know. And it also seems to be a way of saying we don't have the biggest responsibilities. Those are democratized. Whatever the big decisions are to be made, they'll be democratized. You can't blame me. You can't blame us. Things have to be democratized, baby. Leave democracy to governments. In the place of business, in the place of making money, in the place of getting things done, how good is democracy at getting things done? Does your local government do a good job of rebuilding the roads? Okay, well then maybe certain things that are goal-oriented should not be democratized. This idea that everyday entrepreneurs may sense a shift is afoot but may not be keen to experiment with so-called AI agents or know-how to reach customers. Autos is more than happy to help them, supplying these individuals with AI tools to build sophisticated products using natural language and taking advantage of social media algorithms to find them their niche customers. Okay, so step 1, AI agents. Step 2, step 3, profit. You know where that comes from, and I don't have to tell you, but that is how this is starting to feel to me. Facebook and a lot of these platforms are just incredible algorithms, and they're incredible at figuring out how to reach your customer. If you define a customer group, says Wordlin, who co founded Autos with his pre hype partner Nicholas Thorne. In fact, Autos uses this system to quickly test whether a founder's business idea has sustainable customer acquisition costs. I don't know how that would work. That is, I think, I think that is limiting your product in some way, is it not? The approach seems to be working. Autos has helped launch low hundreds of businesses since its beta launch, with its own customers discovering the platform through Instagram ads asking, "Have you thought about starting something but don't know where to go?" Among them, Wordlin says, are a car mechanic who wants to help people evaluate repair quotes, an individual who is selling after death logistics services, virtual golf swing coaches, and AI nutritionists. In a winking reference to billion-dollar businesses or so-called unicorns, he calls these one- and two-person teams donkey corns. I just have to be honest here. When I get on Instagram, the stuff that the algorithm slaps me in the face with is not AI business building tools. Donkey corn might be one of those terms, I guess, to find some of those things, but moving along. All went through the same process. They clicked on Autos' ad, and its AI agent launched a conversation to figure out the problems these individuals want to tackle and who they want to serve. And when it was satisfied with the answers, Autos got them in front of potential customers as fast as possible. Tell me that's not Boiler Room. Tell me that's not Giovanni Ribisi. Giovanni, was that his name? Giovanni Ribisi, sitting in an empty building with a phone on the floor. Tell me that's not Ben Affleck walking in saying, what was his big line in that? Act as if, right? Tell me that's not what's going on in that paragraph. As for returns, Autos operates on a fundamentally different model than traditional accelerators or venture capital. Instead of taking equity, the company takes a 15% revenue share from the businesses it helps launch. In return, founders get up to $25,000 in funding, access to those AI powered business development tools, and help with distribution primarily through paid social media advertising. And in my opinion, this is where we get a little bit more clarification. So it feels like Boiler Room, it feels kind of hollow. Um, Again, I don't know enough to make an accusation or a statement about that. But I think we're starting to see maybe a little bit of why it feels this way. I'm not sure that there is anything that is appealing in the previous two paragraphs, but it does seem to be an eat what you kill approach, which has to be at least respected. Now, we're not taking any equity in their business, Wordlin says. Oh, do. We're not taking any equity in their business. Well, what are your stakes? Partly because we don't think these companies might ever get sold. What we're really inspired by are the mom and pop shops that are the backbone of society. Now, um, here's the real conclusion. that I started to get through this article. This seems so. They start talking about VCs. Otto says VCs don't sound worried about. Oh, let me get one more. Otto's value proposition raises other questions given how quickly the landscape is changing. While Wordlin emphasizes helping founders build relationships with customers, it's unclear how much of that work the AI agents can actually handle. There's also the matter of differentiation. As Wordlin readily acknowledges, the world is full of these tools and they're getting better rapidly. What happens when entrepreneurs can access similar AI capabilities without paying a permanent revenue tax? Autos' VCs don't sound worried about those scenarios. True Ventures led Autos' $11.5 million seed round with partner Tony Conrad, explaining the appeal in a Zoom call this week, in addition to having confidence in Wordlin and Thorne. Says Conrad, I think there are just lots and lots of people who might eagerly embrace the opportunity to work with a platform like Autos's. What this is starting to seem like to me is this is sort of like random rich people's other bets graveyard at Google. There's a big sort of open running joke about Google, which is kind of if you want something to die, put it in Google's other bets. So not search, not YouTube, not their AI business, none of these things, right? Google constantly has lots of little projects on which they're working. Waymo was one. Waymo, I believe, sprung from that. There was the Google Glasses, right? All of these different things that never really materialized. This seems to me to be, as it is a VC type venture capitalist venture, I guess, right? But um, it seems to be like Google's other bets category. Let's just we're going to pepper a couple $1,000,000 over here that we're going to expect to write off as loss. But if anything does germinate, boy, we'll have some type of return. Anyway, guys, I'm not going to go through the whole article because I don't want to usurp the article of its value, but that is those are the takeaways that I had from the article, and this is one of the things that I do on this channel. So if you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this with other people. If you find yourself here by chance but not design, consider hitting the subscribe button to stick around for more. As AI, there is an AI playlist on the channel, and I try to cover all of the AI news that I can almost keep.